everyone, and welcome to my latest Waypoint Books full moon subscription box reading vlog. If you don't know what Waypoint Books full moon subscription box is, it is a monthly bookish subscription service that ships worldwide that is based entirely around your tastes. And every single month you get 2 books. The first one is one that you pick out of a list of 3 and the other one is a complete surprise. Both of them are entirely based around your tastes though, and every single time so far Hannah has absolutely nailed it, which means she has nailed it for a good 8 months now with me, and I guarantee you she will do the exact same thing for you. And what this vlog is going to be doing is proving that to you once again, because I have 4 books here that Hannah has sent me as part of my January and February book boxes, if I remember rightly, and I'm going to be reading them for this vlog and telling you how much I enjoyed them and how much Hannah absolutely nailed it. So let's get into the books I'm going to be reading and then getting on with the reading. First one to mention is The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. This one is a sort of spooky alternate reality type story. Then there is Know Your Station by Sarah Gailey, and this is a sort of futuristic murder mystery set on a billionaire's space station. From what I can tell, it sounds really interesting. I will say, by the way, that if you are not into graphic novels, don't worry, Hannah won't send you graphic novels, but because I'm a massive graphic novel fan, Hannah generally sends me one, so this is one of her picks that she sent me. Then there is Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum. This one is by Matthew Gibson, and this is a sort of murder mystery set in 1888 at the Lyceum Theatre, and we are following Bram Stoker, who is the acting manager there, an aspiring future author of Dracula, as he is trying to figure out what's happening after an actress has been attacked, suffering peculiar bite wounds to her neck. And I am a massive vampire fan. I've been wanting to read more vampiric books, so intrigued by this one. And then finally, Hannah also sent me for this round Kings of the Wild. This one is by Nicholas Eames, and this one is all about Clay Cooper and his band, who were once the best of the mercenaries, but they've all now gotten older, they've retired and things, and then one day one of their ex-bandmates turns up at Clay's door with a plea for help, the kind of mission that only the very brave or the very stupid would sign up for. And I love this kind of idea. I'm starting to get into sort of D&D type things. I do not play D&D, but I like those types of storylines. I like a high fantasy on occasion. I love a mercenary story, so very intrigued by this one, especially after Hannah has told me for months now that I need to read this. So these are going to be the 4 things I'm reading for this reading vlog. I do have my book box as well for March and April, which I may add on to the end of this vlog. I haven't decided yet, but for now I'm going to be focusing on these 4 books, and I'm going to be starting today with Know Your Station, because quite frankly this is the only one I've got time to read today. So I'm going to get started with this one and let you know what I think about it. Currently 2 issues into Know Your Station. This is very interesting so far. We are dealing with our main character, who is on a space station, and they seem to be trying to withdraw from a drug called Blue. They keep on seemingly missing time, things like this, while they're withdrawing. Meanwhile, people keep on being murdered quite violently in the spaceship, and it looks like the murders are staged very much like something out of Hannibal, I will say, which is, like, I mean Hannibal, the TV show, by the way, which is quite interesting. And it seems like every single time a body turns up, the only person who's been in that room for the last 12 hours is our main character, and she's like, did I do this? I don't think I did this, and things like this, which is very interesting. I'm very intrigued so far. I do not have any sort of theory at the moment, but then again, I'm very bad with like detective work and theories and this kind of thing, so I'm not really bothered about that, to be honest, but definitely intrigued so far. Also, this is actually a place run by billionaires, and Sarah Gailey is really not hiding from the fact that all of these billionaires are terrible people, and being like, oh yeah, we managed to make huge leaps with our technology and stuff by like using prisoners essentially in prisons and things like this, and it's like, these people are terrible human beings. So I'm wondering how that's going to sort of play into this as well at the moment. I reckon it's probably going to be someone with like a grudge or something against these very, very rich people. But at the same time, one of the people who've been murdered is a cop, so it could just be that they were trying to get rid of the cop before they figure something out. I don't know. But yeah, generally very intrigued to find out what's going on right now. Still really enjoying this. I'm now on to chapter 5, but I just want to point out this bit here of Kirk and Spock. just a bit of Kirk and Spock fan art there, or I mean, it's very clearly Kirk and Spock. And as a Star Trek nerd, that's kind of fun because I'm not gonna lie, I do kind of ship Kirk and Spock. Won't lie, so that was a cool little Easter egg. I've now just finished Know Your Station, and this was one hell of a comic, to say the least. I will say that the murder mystery was wrapped up very, very quickly, and I did guess after like the 3rd issue what was going on, which kind of really helped, to be honest, because this was such a intriguing way to, let's say, look at billionaires and the unethical nature of billionaires and how these people are dealing with billionaires in, let's just say, an unethical way. But billionaires are unethical, but it was a weird sort of take on our modern world in terms of how billionaires treat us compared to how we treat billionaires, how we deal with the world and how we exist in this world, and how we are like capitalism and all of this kind of thing. It was a very, very sort of interesting look into all of those things in a futuristic murder mystery type setting. So I did enjoy it. It's going to take me a little while to properly sort of process what I've just read, but I did quite enjoy it. It's an incredibly messed up book, don't get me wrong. It's incredibly messed up, from like the murders to everything else. It's very messed up, but I do like how it was pointing out the flaws in our society, and AI art, that was also covered in here as well, and the unethical nature of AI art and all of this kind of thing. It was all very, very interesting, and I think for the minute I'm going to be giving it 4 stars. But I am going to need to take some more time to properly digest what I just read. And now I don't have any more time to read for the rest of the day, but tomorrow I will be starting the Hollow Places, because at time of filming it is still April, and this is the last thing I have on my Magical Readathon TBR, so I'm going to be reading this one next, and then if I've got time throughout the rest of April, probably not, it's already the 24th, I will probably be starting Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum, I think, because that is the shortest one, but we shall see. Either way, tomorrow I'll be starting Hollow Places. I've just started Hollow Places and I've just had to calm down because I somehow just got tickets to go see David Tennant in Macbeth. And I'm a little bit overexcited because David Tennant is one of my favourite actors. I have loved him since I was like 12 years old, and I am a massive Whovian, if you couldn't tell by the earrings and my last Doctor Who vlog and everything else. I am a massive Whovian, so getting tickets to see him and to be able to see him live is just so ridiculously exciting. But I've managed to calm down and I've started reading this, and I really like the opening to this. I'm literally only 3 pages in, and our main character is talking about the fact that her uncle Earl has a museum, and it's like a very sort of religious museum. It's called the Glory to God Museum of Natural Wonders, Curiosities and Taxidermy, and she's gone through like some of the things that are in here. And then what I really like is this paragraph. It says, Uncle Earl strongly believes in Jesus, Moses, the healing power of crystals, the Freemasons, the Illuminati, that aliens landed at Roswell but the government is suppressing it, secret histories, faith healing, snake handling, that there is an invention that will replace gasoline but the oil companies are suppressing it, chemtrails, demon possession, the astonishing powers of Vicks vapor rub, and that there's proof that aliens contacted the Mayans and the Aztecs and probably the Egyptians, but the scientists are suppressing it. He believes in skunk, ape, chupacabras, and positively adores Mothman. He is not Catholic, but he believes in the miracle of Fatima, the visions of Mary appearing on toast, and he is nearly positive that the end times are upon us. But it seems to be okay with this, provided it does not interfere with museum hours. And there's just something about that that just really sort of grabbed me. I don't know what it was, but that just really sort of, it paints such a good picture of this character in so like little space, I guess you're saying, like 3 admittedly very long like sentences, but that just really worked for me, and I just wanted to point it out. That really worked for me, and I'm definitely very intrigued so far, only 3 pages in, so definitely a good start. I like our main character because she's like going through packing up her house after her divorce, which is obviously very sad, and she's saying that she was grimly throwing her books into boxes. She was taking the Pratchett, damn it, he could buy his own. And I'm like, I like you, because I'd do the same thing. I'd absolutely do the same thing. So I like this character already. She even reads fanfic. I love this woman. I absolutely love this woman. And even though we're just talking about how she's going about her day, she's starting to catalogue everything in the museum and things like this, which is quite sort of run-of-the-mill, I'm still really invested in this so far. I'm really liking the writing style. I'm really liking our main character and sort of exploring more to do with this museum. All of this kind of thing is all very interesting to me, and I'm definitely enjoying this so far, even though nothing really sort of creepy has happened or anything. I'm still very much enjoying this. I'm currently absolutely flying through Hollow Places right now. I am on chapter 7, which is 73 pages in already, and I just wanted to quickly say that Hannah has actually sent me my recommendations for May's subscription box. So what I wanted to do is quickly show you what the email looks like, this kind of thing, so you can kind of see what you'd get if you sign up for the full moon subscription box. So I'm going to quickly turn you around and actually show you the email. So this is the kind of email you'll get with the recommendations. You get the name of it and obviously the author, and then why Hannah thinks you'll quite like it, this kind of thing, and then you email her back with exactly which one you want, and she'll send it to you along with the other book that is a surprise. Sometimes the books on the recommendation list will be stuff that is on your Goodreads, and obviously, as you can see by a little bit there, Hannah was saying she couldn't see if I'd read Radiant Black Volume 2 on my Goodreads, because Hannah checks these a lot to see what's on your wish list, what you're excited about, this kind of thing, to help her choose exactly which book she's going to recommend to you, this kind of thing. So it's really personalised. You can see why Hannah thinks you'll enjoy these books, and also if the 3 books that she's recommending aren't anything that's really calling to you or anything, you can say, can I have something like another list, because these ones aren't calling to me specifically, and Hannah's really good with that as well. So just thought I'd quickly show you that so you can sort of see a little bit more as to how these subscription boxes work. So I'm now 137 pages in, and I am really enjoying this. This is very nearly halfway. I'm sort of getting towards halfway. I'm about 40 pages off halfway, I think. Anyway, I'm really enjoying this. I like that we're getting more of like a Portal fantasy type vibe in here. I like that we're exploring these new worlds while having these very creepy moments. I like that our main characters are being sensible about this and not going, let's go explore and all the rest of it, even though there's like these dangerous things they do not know what they are out there. They're actually hiding and things. I do like that they're doing stuff like this and they are thinking things through, and also that they aren't just accepting that this is happening. They're going, we are being infected by like black mold or something right now. They obviously don't believe it, but I like that they're not just immediately accepting their situation, that they are actually questioning it and things, because that is something that really annoys me in books, I won't lie, when characters just come across this brand new world or something and they just accept what's going on instead of questioning it. I'm really happy with all of that. And so far this is going really well. I am really enjoying this so far. Hannah's definitely picked a good one. She's definitely picked another good one for me, and I am so glad she gave me this one because this is so good so far. It's now Friday and I have managed to read about 200 pages, 196 pages in total yesterday, because I could not put this down. This is so creepy, so atmospheric. I am loving this so much right now. I'm definitely going to be trying to finish the last sort of 150 odd pages today, hopefully, because I need to know how this ends. I am desperate to know how this ends. This is so good. Hannah has nailed it with this one once again. How she does this, I don't know, but with this book, nailed it 100%. With every passing chapter, with every new creepy thing that's happening, I'm going, what the hell? Because I'm not going to give spoilers, because I don't want to give spoilers here, in case you want to read this, and you all should. If you like spooky things, this is the book for you. But what the... all I'm going to say is, for the people who've read this, the ending of chapter 17 with the raccoon. What? I've now just finished the Hollow Places, and that was incredible. incredible. From the actual storyline, the characters, the creepy nature of this, it was all absolutely incredibly written. I could not put this down whatsoever. If I had the time, I would have read this in a day. But unfortunately, I had to do it in 2, and now my camera battery is flashing at me, so I'm going to have to hurry up. But my God, was this good. 5 stars. This is not going to be my final T. Kingfisher book. I'm going to be looking up every other thing T. Kingfisher has ever written now, because this was incredible. And oh my God, just so good. Hannah, this is the best book you've ever sent me. Best book you've ever sent me. My God, 5 stars. Brilliant. Loved it. I'm going to need a minute to process this, and then I'm going to make a start on Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum. But right now, I'm just going to need a minute to take in what I just read, because my God, that was a lot, and it was so good. I've read the first chapter, and you can really see that Matthew Gibson is a scholar of all things Dracula and Bram Stoker. If I remember rightly, that is who he is. If I remember rightly. Give me a sec. I'm like 90% sure on that one. Is one of the world's leading scholars on Bram Stoker, the author of Dracula and the Gothic. So you can really see that, because he's got a lot of information in here about the theatre, the Lyceum Theatre. I think I've actually been to the Lyceum, if I remember rightly. I mean, I know the Lyceum quite well. I know London theatres quite well, because I've been to quite a few of them. But you can see he's really done his research over the years about Bram Stoker and his time in the theatre as a theatre manager, as well as the other actors that would have been around at the time and the other contemporaries of the time, things like this, and the historical details are also there as far as I can tell. I'm not an expert by any means in 1800s. I basically just know what I know from seeing various documentaries about that sort of time over the years, and obviously watching a lot of things set around that time. But you can really see anyway that Matthew Gibson really knows what he's on about, and the mystery has already happened. We've had a young woman attacked in the bowels of the theatre underneath the stage, and has had bite marks on her neck and things like this. So definitely intrigued so far. I do definitely appreciate the fact that this is really well researched. That's what I'm getting so far. I'm only 23 pages in, just about to start chapter 2, but definitely a good start. It's now Monday. I am having a bit of a wet hair, don't care kind of day, because I really wanted to get on and read this, because I've got 2 days to read it before the end of the month, so I'm trying to speed through it, though I'm hoping it's going to be relatively easy, because this is only 270 pages. But anyway, I'm on to chapter 3 now, and we've just finished the play for the evening, and Stoker has gone back backstage, because he's the sort of manager of the Lyceum, and he is talking to some other authors and things who have turned up to see the show, and Arthur Conan Doyle has just shown up, and I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, because obviously they were contemporaries of each other at the time, but I wasn't expecting to see Arthur Conan Doyle. So now my BBC Sherlock heart has gone, oh, Arthur Conan Doyle. I know he's not going to be a massive part of this, but BBC Sherlock fangirl just sort of awoke in me and went, Arthur Conan Doyle, what now? So that was quite fun. Literally, I just turned into the fangirl equivalent of a meerkat. Just going, what do you mean Arthur Conan Doyle's here? It was ridiculous. But anyway, I'm definitely still enjoying this. I will say I feel like this is going to get slightly sort of bogged down in all of the details and stuff, because Matthew Gibson is a leading expert in Bram Stoker and Dracula, and I feel like he is a little bit trying to fit in as many details as possible of what he knows to make sure it's accurate and things, where he doesn't have to put that much into it, but it's still quite enjoyable. It's definitely setting the scene and definitely showing off how much he knows, but I'm just saying that right now. I think it may get slightly bogged down in that, but we shall see. Either way, still very much enjoying this, and definitely enjoyed that Arthur Conan Doyle mention. You can really tell that Matthew Gibson knows what he's on about, but and he's done a lot of research into this. You can really tell that he is a scholar of Stoker and Dracula in specific, things like this. But I will say that it does mean that, as someone who doesn't know that much about it, it's a little bit confusing, because he's talking about Rosicrucian and things like this, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm having to Google a few things throughout this because I'm like, I've got no idea what you're on about. Or he's talking about slightly less famous authors that I don't really know, that I'm just like, who? Because obviously I've heard of Arthur Conan Doyle and Oscar Wilde, who is mentioned a few times throughout here. But then it's also talking about Oscar Wilde's brother and then various other contemporaries of their time. And I'm just like, I don't know who these people are. I won't lie. I just do not know who these people are. So there's a few like details that are just going completely over my head just because I do not know what they are, and I am having to Google a few things, but I am still finding this interesting. And I'm also finding quite interesting as well how you can see the parts of Dracula coming together throughout here. So there was a murder case going on throughout here in like the first part. I'm currently just about to start part 2, which is page 113, so I'm this far through at the moment. But anyway, we're talking about a murder case, and they're talking about the fact that the lord that has been accused of this is saying it wasn't me, it was my cousin, who's called Lacurda, if I remember rightly, or Lacruda, something like that. And it's very obvious that that is an anagram of Dracula. You've also got the fact that there is a young actress who underneath the stage of the Lyceum Theatre has been attacked and has got 2 bite marks on her neck. There's a whole bunch of rats now that are turning up dead as well, not in the trap. They seem to have been thrown to the ground and killed that way. There is also the fact that Stoker has gone past a street and seen people going into it and carrying a coffin in there. So you start to see the vampiric Dracula things coming together, but I do wonder if I'm also missing things, because I have tried reading Dracula and I didn't enjoy it. My understanding of Dracula comes entirely from adaptations like the BBC one that was done by Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat a few years ago. That is where most of my Dracula knowledge comes from with shows like that, so I'm probably missing a lot more references and things in here, but I'm still very intrigued and I'm definitely enjoying seeing these different Dracula hints and the starts of Dracula starting to come together throughout this. We just had a brief point of view switch to one of the followers of Dracula, or I guess you could say one of the wives of Dracula. I found that quite interesting actually, because it's obviously set where Dracula's usually is, and sort of seeing more about his character and things. I found that quite interesting. And now we are also getting some reveals as well to do with some of the other characters and stuff. I'm not going to say specifics in case anybody wants to read this and they don't want spoilers, but definitely intriguing. I will say that this, you can tell that this is Matthew Gibson's first fiction novel. You can definitely tell that because there's a lot of info dump moments, and he's also focusing a lot on describing things and making sure he's building the story and the world building through a lot of details that he obviously knows. He's obviously very much a expert on Dracula and Bram Stoker. You can really tell that. But generally I am still enjoying this. I've got about 104 pages left, and we are now getting into more of the explanation as to how everything's tying together, things like this, which is quite interesting. But I will say that those details and getting a little bit bogged down with those details is just a little bit, like I said, bogging down a little bit, but generally still a good time. And now I've just finished Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum, and this was actually really interesting. I really liked how it was giving this idea as to how Bram Stoker came up with the idea for Dracula and the inspiration behind it, this kind of thing. I like that it was giving a sort of history of these things while also being fictional, this kind of thing. I really liked at the end as well that there was a what actually happened to the real life people who were based in this book. I did enjoy that. I will say that this definitely felt like a scholar writing their first fiction novel. I will say that. So it was kind of bogged down in a few places, like I've said a few times, with details and things that were just a little bit too much at points and things, and there were a few moments where it kind of felt like the author Matthew Gibson just assumed that you would know things about the time, like Rosicrucians and things like this, which I definitely did not know about, and I had to Google. So I do think that he maybe needed a little bit more editing from maybe someone who just doesn't know that much about Bram Stoker and Dracula and things like this, to be like, maybe you need to explain this a little bit further in these points, or maybe tone these certain details down a little bit, things like this, but it was still very interesting. I did like that it was going into that original Dracula myth, and it also covered a little bit as well the Whitechapel murders, aka the Jack the Ripper murders, stuff like this, but I will say that some of it did get a little bit bogged down for me, and also this was quite historical in how it was written and things like this, which goes a little bit over my head at points, which kind of affected my enjoyment a little bit. So I'm going to be giving it 3 stars at the moment because it was fun, but I had a few problems with it. I've just started Kings of the Wild. I'm currently 42 pages in, which is 5 chapters, and I'm really enjoying this so far. This one is all about Clay Cooper. He is a retired mercenary. He is now settled down. He's got married. He's had a child, and a lot of the others have as well within his band of mercenaries. And then one day one of his old mercenary friends comes along and says, look, my daughter is in danger, I desperately need help, let's get the band back together. And he is now going off with his friend to try and get the band back together again and save the daughter, essentially. And what I am getting from this is retired Geralt of Rivia vibes, because I feel like the way Clay talks is very much like what would happen if Geralt of Rivia retired. It feels very much like that, in that sort of, my back hurts, I have to get up multiple times in the night, why am I doing this? I want to be back at home. Essentially, it feels very sort of Geralt, and I'm really enjoying that. I'm really liking the sort of humour of this and how grumpy Clay is. I'm really liking the world of this as well so far. And yeah, I'm only 40 pages in, but I'm definitely really enjoying this. So yeah, this looks like it's going to be a good one again from Hannah, but we shall see. I've obviously got all of this much to go, but definitely a good start. I have such a sense of humour of a teenager, but that whole bit where they've gone through the mirror into the king's like chamber, and shall we say they are standing to attention. It shouldn't make me laugh as much as it does, but it did. And then also what I really like as well on a more serious note is how we are introduced to each of the characters, and we find out more about what they're like immediately throughout their chapters that introduces Clay and Gabriel meet up with them. So we've already met Moog, and we've also obviously now met Matrick, and I really like Moog as a character. He's wonderfully chaotic, he's brilliant, I really enjoy him. He's the reason why everyone's standing to attention, which very good. And then also Matrick, I really like that we got this really good look into who Matrick is and how his life is now that he is king of this land, and how unhappy he is and all the rest of it. You get it really clearly and things, which I really like. And yeah, I'm just really liking this so far. I really like the characters, I like the world building, I like the I like how the story's going. Obviously the humour's getting me. Yeah, this is really good so far. I'm 98 pages in, but I'm really liking this. One thing I'm really enjoying about this book is the descriptions of things. So at one point they've just gone to a like tavern essentially, and Clay is describing one of the people who works at the barn. He's a minotaur, and he just says, his once lustrous beard had gone ratty and grey, his horns yellowed by smoke, and his voice scratched like a suit in shoddy chainmail. And for some reason, I really enjoy that type of description. It's really working really well for me throughout this book, and the way Clay just describes everybody they come into contact with. Well, not everybody they come into contact with, but everyone important. You get a description like that, and it just works so well at building up that picture in just a sentence. I really enjoy that about this book. I love Moog so much in this. He is such an adorable idiot. Like, he's just like, the bounty hunter has just turned up and is looking for them. She's just said Moog's name, and he's gone here and waved, and I'm just like, how has he survived this long? How has he survived this long? Just, it begs belief. It really does, but I do love him. I really do love him. We're now into the following Monday, and I've managed to read a couple of chapters over the weekend. Not that much, I had a very busy weekend, but I've now got about 180 pages left, and I am really still enjoying this one. I'm trying not to give away spoilers or anything, because obviously people watching this may want to read this book, but I am really enjoying it. The storyline of this, everything that's going on in the wild, which is where they are at the moment. I'm loving seeing more of like the creatures and things that are in this forest and why this forest is so dangerous. The banter between all of our characters is absolutely brilliant as well. I am loving seeing how they all talk to each other, and Clay's like stream of consciousness I'm really enjoying as well, and seeing how he thinks about things, this kind of thing. I'm really enjoying all of that as well, and I'm just generally really enjoying this one. I am not flying through it by any means, but I am definitely really enjoying myself. Two things. One, I'm kind of starting to ship Moog and Kit together because they're just really fun, and I really love like their banter and things and how excited they are always to see each other. And then also I really love Dane and Gregor. I really love their relationship. I love how Dane is trying to make everything so like magical and things for Gregor and things like this, and I know he's lying to him, which is not very nice whatsoever, but I really love how he really cares for his friend and stuff, and he's trying to make things sort of less scary in a lot of ways and stuff like this, which I just really love. I really love them. I really love all the characters in here, but I especially am loving at the moment Dane and Gregor. I'm on chapter 37 for context for those who've read this, but I really love them, and I also really love Moog and Kit, and I'm kind of wanting to ship them. Like, I don't know if I will, but kind of want to, I won't lie. With that, I have now finished Kings of the Wild, and this was really good fun. I love the humour of this. I really enjoyed the storyline of it. I love this idea of having aging heroes getting the band back together again to save someone, and having this massive epic quest and this epic battle and everything else. I really enjoyed that element of it. I really enjoyed the characters of this as well, and the like world this inhabited was really fun as well. I really like the world in here, with all these different creatures, and how everyone views bands like Saga and things. Like, the author actually says that they are treated like rock stars, and they very much are treated like rock stars, so that was really fun. Like I said, the humour was fantastic. Moog was probably my favourite character of the lot, though I really loved Clay and everybody else as well. I loved them. I loved the battle scenes and everything else. I will say that I do think in a few places things happened a little bit too easily, and I do think the defeat of the villain happened a little bit easily, and things did go their way a little bit too easily in a few places. But apart from that, I had a really fantastic time reading this. I will also say, actually, as well, thinking about it, there are quite a few like fat jokes throughout here as well, which I wasn't entirely happy with. I will say that, but everything else was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed this. I'm giving it 4 stars, and once again, Hannah absolutely nailed it. She absolutely nailed it. She absolutely 100% nailed it once again. I was really nervous going into this because I was like, oh, it's a bit of like a quest book, and I'm not usually here for long drawn out journeys and things, and this was like 90% journey, but I still really enjoyed myself. And I mean, Hannah nailed it. Hannah knows exactly what I'm going to find funny. She knows the kind of badassery I enjoy and everything else, and it was in this book, and it was in all of the other books I have also read for this reading vlog. And now that I've finished this reading vlog, it's time to wrap up everything I read. So we have Mr. Stoker and the Vampires of the Lyceum by Matthew Gibson. This was an interesting take on Dracula and what inspired Bram Stoker to write Dracula. Things like this. I will say that this was a little bit bogged down in places with details, and then at the same time expecting you to understand certain bits that you don't, but overall it was a fun time. I gave it 3 stars. Know Your Station was a satire very much like the TV show The Boys by way of Hannibal Lecter in terms of the murders. It was a really interesting one, really fun one. The villain was really easy to see, but I don't think that was the point of this book. I think more the point was the satirical nature of this on billionaires and capitalism and all of this kind of thing, and I'm giving it 4 stars. The Hollow Places was absolutely fantastic, atmospheric, creepy, and all round brilliant. I am giving it 5 stars. It was absolutely fantastic. fantastic and the highlight of this vlog. And then finally, Kings of the Wild was really fun, really funny, and just plain brilliant. There was a few moments of fat comments that I wasn't really happy with and things like this, but overall I had a brilliant time with it and I'm giving it 4 stars. And if you want to try out Waypoint Books' full moon subscription box and seeing what Hannah would pick out for you, I will leave a link down below so you can check it out for yourself, and you can also use the code BeccaFM23 at checkout to get 30% off your first box. And you can't really go wrong with that because you will get books you will absolutely love that you may not have heard of before, and you will also get 30% off your first box. And I mean, you cannot go wrong with that, quite frankly, you cannot go wrong with that. I should also mention that Waypoint Books ships worldwide as well, so if you're not in England, don't worry, Hannah most likely ships to you. I think she's got a list of places she does ship to on the website, but basically there are very few countries she doesn't ship to, and you should all go and check it out because I have enjoyed every single book Hannah has sent me over the last few reading vlogs, and she has absolutely nailed it every single time. And I think really that's all I've got to say for this reading vlog, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you thought of any of these books if you have read them, or if you don't have that much time, leave me a sword emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all of my social media and Hannah's social media as well, so you can check her out if you want to, as well as a link as well down below to my bookish Etsy store if you want to buy yourself something bookish today, or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!